Welcome back to Just the Tips, brought to you by Centimetre Perfect. That is Jesse. I am Liam. We are back to tip round 21 action. You can find us at @CA_perfect_AFL on your favorite podcast provider, be that Apple, Spotify, or Amazon. Find us right here on YouTube and also on Instagram. Jesse, we're pushing towards the end of the season. We are but 4 rounds away from being done and dusted with season proper. How are you feeling about it? How are you feeling about the tips?
Well, I'm glad our audience is enjoying the show so far, Liam, because needless to say, I am not. As the season gets closer to drawing to an end, I have an even more insurmountable mountain to climb. Luckily, though, St Kilda has given me hope off their performance yesterday that anything is possible. So hopefully Simon Goodman is helping you with your tips as well, Liam, because I need to start mounting my comeback.
You do, Jesse. Move that microphone just a bit close to your gob, my friend. Attaboy. Now we can hear what you're saying. No, yes, you do have to do something drastic, Jesse, because as you all know, if you've been watching us for a little while, we use confidence points here to do our tipping. Jesse, what are they?
Confidence points are our way of assigning weighted numbers to our tips each week. So across the 9-game round this week, we will assign points based on our confidence in our selections, 1 being the least confident of our picks, 9 being the most. Whoever has the most amount of confidence points at the end of the season will be declared champion. Crucially, you don't need to have the most amount of correct tips to win the competition, only the most amount of correct points.
We do have a little bonus if you get the points right or thereabouts. You get bonus confidence points, and you need them, Jesse. Current scores are as follows. I had a perfect round last week. Pats on the back for me, 45 points. You got 43, not too bad. Only the Suns-Brisbane game between us, because I tipped the Suns. Huzzah. 562 for me, 552 for you, at 10 points down, Jesse. It's not insurmountable in 4 games.
No, it's not.
Not by any stretch of the imagination. But does he go crazy with his tips this week? Let's find out, starting with Thursday night.
Thursday night footy sees Essendon. No, sorry, it sees actual teams that can play football on a Thursday night. This time it is the Western Bulldogs hosting GWS at Marvel Stadium. The Dogs need to bite back against a top 8 rival, while the Giants are one of the form teams in the competition and will be looking to extend that run and solidify their date with September. I will go first this week, Liam, as the reigning loser. Giants with 4 for me. Hard to tip the Dogs against good sides. They really do desperately need to win this one. If they don't win, it's season over. So there's a compelling reason why the Dogs can and probably should win this game. But right now, the Giants have all the momentum. They'll go into this game feeling a lot more relaxed than the Dogs will, in the sense of there's less of an element of desperation there. I think that will allow them to control the game a bit more. If the Dogs get going early, they may just be too strong. But I think if the Giants can just keep an element of control and calmness around this game, even with a couple of outs, I think they'll be able to get the job done.
Yeah, Giants with 3 for me. Similar thoughts to you, Jesse. I think, Bulldogs, it's their elimination final this week, but the Giants are going to want to try and solidify themselves as top 4, which is not outside the realm of possibility either. And like you said, they're in form. They're looking pretty good. I was going to say I'm kind of rooting for the Dogs. I'm actually not, because that would do Freo no favours. Jesse, let's move on to Friday.
What a great game of Friday Night Footy we have here at Adelaide Oval.
The
other form team in the competition, Adelaide hosting Hawthorn. You're absolutely right, Liam. This is a great round of footy. The Crows looking to continue their white-hot form on home turf, while Hawthorn, they've been going along pretty well themselves. They've been getting the job done across all parts of the country in recent weeks, or at least travelling there. And they've now got to go to South Australia to do it again. Liam, can they keep the travelling circus going with another 4 points, Liam, or will the Crows on home deck be too strong?
It's really hard to tip against the Crows at the moment. Really, really hard. That said, I've only gone the Crows with 4. And the reason I've gone so low in my confidence points is I think that the Hawks do have this in them to actually cause a bit of a stir here. Again, similar to the last game, you got the Hawks who are kind of, a bit more comfortable than the Bulldogs, but still not safe by any stretch. And the Crows who would really love to solidify a home final in the top 4. So Crows with 4 for me, but I can see this being a bit closer than people might expect. Jesse.
Yeah, I've got this in my coin flip game here. Crows with 1 for me.
Wow, okay.
To beat the Hawks. I'm very nervous about what Hawthorn could produce against good sides at this time of the season, because if they can get the job done here, they're right in that conversation. And I think they even now they probably should be. I think Hawthorn can absolutely inflict damage on good sides. Adelaide is going to be one of the toughest games all season. We know that. That's not news. But I'm still not willing to completely cast aside the Hawks, because they'd have been well-travelled this season. They've had to go to difficult locations. Even in games they've lost in these difficult locations, they've still played fairly well. If they can get a run going, we know how dangerous and dynamic that forward line is for them. If they just get on a roll, much like the Dogs in the previous game, they could just come over the top. But Adelaide, to me, they're the incumbents, they're the defaults in this regard. I have only gone the 1 point, though. I'm not totally sold on them being comfortably ahead of Hawthorn in this game.
How good, Jesse? A Thursday night game and a Friday night game, both absolute crackers. Bye-bye, Primetime Bombers. You're not welcome here anymore until probably next week. Let's move on to Saturday. We've talked about crackers. What about this one?
Well, I'm sure someone will enjoy this. It's Melbourne hosting West Coast at Marvel Stadium. This is a very Marvel Stadium game, so much so that one of the anchor tenants of the MCG can't even get in there for this because it's these two this season. I'm up first here. Melbourne with 6 for me. I think that the wheels have fallen off for the Eagles at this point of the season now, which is a shame because we wanted to see them start accelerating. Now Melbourne will have a point to prove. Off last week, we don't know if there's going to be an interim coach in. If there is, I think that will help even further. But regardless, these senior players, they're going to cop a bashing all week in the media, and rightfully so. They need to stand up and be counted here. Need to get the job done, need to win, I think, fairly strongly. I'd be very disappointed if Melbourne dropped this. You'd be starting to see real panic stations for them, irrespective of who's in the coach's box on Saturday.
And it's our points game, Jesse. How many points?
I'm going to go with 38.
Wowee. Okay. So, this is fun. I didn't expect you to go Melbourne with such high confidence points, Jesse. I thought this might be a little bit of a one for me to throw a bit of a roughie out at it, just for a bit of fun. And you've actually thrown a bit of spatter in my works. I can't change it now.
No.
West Coast with 1.
Okay. Well, this could work out. This would just about end the season.
It would. It would.
If you got it with three weeks to go, this would end the season.
It would, but then if it goes the other way, that's half the points gone that I'm up on. And then if you get the score right, it's gone. It's an even Stevens again.
Gone.
Oh my God!
Always been a fan of Jacob Van Rooyen. I have.
Yeah, well, and this is the funny thing, Jesse. You've said it this whole time. Like you played this safe in this situation, not me. I can't help myself. Go on, Eagles. I've got them with 9 points because who cares? But it's
9 confidence points or 9 margin points.
No margin points.
Okay.
Get out of here. 1 confidence point, 9 actual points. How dare you? Look, come on, the Eagles. Do it for WA and also me. Let's move on to the next game, Jesse.
Gold Coast hosting Richmond at People First Stadium. Well, if Gold Coast can repel the Lions at People First Stadium, one would have to suspect their fellow feline friends may also be in a bit of strife. You're up first here, Liam. Could the Tigers pull off a massive upset as they almost did or certainly got within a sniff of doing against the Pies on a Sunday, or will it just be a case of too strong Gold Coast?
Yeah, but did they though? Not really.
They were in it.
They were in it, but the Suns with 8. It's at People First. The Suns just come off the back of pantsing their crosstown rivals at home last week. If they went down to the Tigers this week, I'd have some questions.
Yeah.
I have some very serious questions. I don't think there's too much analysis to actually give on that from my end. I think it should be a fairly comfortable win for the Suns. Jesse?
Suns with 9 for me. I broadly concur. This is going to be a very difficult game for the Tigers. The Suns would like to send a message, get that percentage up to just help solidify. They've got that game in hand, which will help regardless because it is against Essendon, who but they do need to get the points on the board. Regardless, they need to send the message here.
Speaking of Essendon, let's move on to the next game.
Sydney hosting Essendon at the SCG on Saturday as well. Both sides having very disappointing campaigns so far in season 2025. One through his complete lack of ability to play football, the other through a complete lack of ability to be good. So basically, two sides of the same coin, except I do think Sydney is slightly better. And that's why I've gone there with 7 confidence points, because how can you have any confidence in the Bombers this season of what they've produced so far?
Yeah. I mean, Sydney was 6, but otherwise copy and paste. I don't think there's too much more to say about this. It's a bit of a dead game. It's not going to affect anything. It's going to be playing for pride, and the Swans would definitely have more in that basket. Jesse, let's move on to the next one.
Cracking game of Saturday football here. Two sides right in and amongst the premiership picture, and a rematch from the 2023 grand final sees Collingwood host the Lions. Liam, will the Lions be able to bounce back off a disappointing loss at the hands of their crosstown rivals, the Gold Coast Suns, last week, or will the Magpies be able to continue to roll on into September and keep one hand on that minor premiership?
Honestly, Jesse, I don't mind saying this. I don't know. I think this is going to be a coin toss in itself. Obviously, I went crazy with the West Coast one before. So there's another coin toss. Collingwood with 2. I think they're going better than the Lions. Well, not the form wouldn't say so, but I feel like the Magpies are going better than the Lions across the season. At the MCG, look, it's going to be big. Lions obviously play the MCG very well, so it literally could go either way. Lions are going to want to rebound from last week, but I think the Magpies might still get the job done. Pies with 2. Jesse?
Yeah, look, I broadly agree. Collingwood with 3 for me. I am concerned, though, that the Pies did struggle to put Richmond away for a lot of that game, having come off 2 losses prior to that. But ultimately, they've lost 4 games this season. Well, they've dropped points in 4 games this season. Live dropped points in 6 games this season. They are the better side based on what we've seen in season 2025. I'm happy to stick with that. But like you said, there'd be no surprise here if Brisbane got the job done. It would definitely make the top 4 picture a lot more interesting.
Sure.
If this was to go the way of the Lions. But I think either way, this should be a good game of footy, and I don't think the result will be known until deep into the contest.
Agree. Let's go to the next one. Jesse, we're moving on to Sunday.
We've made it to Sunday.
Hey.
We've made it to St Kilda versus North Melbourne at Marvel Stadium. We talked about peak Marvel before. This is up there as well on the podium too, isn't it? I'm up first here. St Kilda with 2. Look, potentially a bit conservative, but North Melbourne do have the ability to galvanise for these type of games where they can pick off opponents around them. They were obviously horrific against Geelong on the weekend. The Saints obviously produced a monumental comeback, but you got to remember how bad the Saints were for 3/4 of that game. It's not worth discarding that with how poor St Kilda played. They will want to get the job done, though. They've got a really easy run to end the season. I do think they'll finish higher than where they are now in 14th, and will get the job done here, but I'm just not willing to quite go all in on them in this game.
It would be a very Saints thing to do, to have a massive, huge win like that and then come back out and lose the next week. It would be very Saints-like. That said, I've gone the Saints with 5. Look, I think the Saints are probably an all-round a better team. We'll see how it goes, because I don't have any trust in either of these 2 teams to deliver good football. So realistically, this should have been the coin toss game, but here we are. Oh man, Jesse, this is going to be a big swing this week. It's either going to be you're going to take all the coins, all the cake, or I am. I'm not liking I'm not liking my tips anymore.
Did you just say either you're going to do well or I'm going to do well, but make that a lot more complicated than it needed to be?
Correct. That's what I do. Like my tips this round. Let's move on to the second last round, Jesse.
Geelong
game of the round.
hosting Port Adelaide at GMHP. Well, I'm sure for the Geelong fans, it's game of the round because they're playing a Port Adelaide side in the 2007 Grand Final rematch. A few Grand Final rematches this week floating around the place.
How far back do you want to go, Jesse?
Someone got Brad Otten's number. We can dial to get him out there for the Cats. I'm up first here, I believe. Liam, is that correct, or is it you?
No, it would be me.
Okay, well, how do you see this one going?
I've gone Geelong with 9.
Okay.
I don't see them losing this game. They're too good at the moment. The Power are not that. And at GMHBA, I think this one should write itself. Jesse?
I've gone Geelong with 8, mostly because I thought Gold Coast would beat Richmond with a bit more confidence. But this is a de facto 9-point game.
Fair enough too. Okay, let's finish it up, Jesse. We're getting loose over here. Let's finish this up now.
Fremantle hosting Carlton in the game. Of which horror show Fremantle performance will we see this time? Whether it's bodgy deliberate out of bounds free kicks, bodgy descent free kicks, or just a complete capitulation. We know Fremantle have a tough time against the Blues. But hopefully, though, for the Dockers' sake, they can correct this. I am tipping Fremantle this week with 5 confidence points, taking out the fact that we always said to save our absolute worst for Carlton, and we have done for what feels like 30 years. Pound for pound, this team should be too good for Carlton.
Mm.
It would be peak Fremantle to lose this game.
It would. But so far, the last 6 or 7 rounds, it's behooved me to put a lot of confidence in the Dockers. It's gone very well. And again, it's another one of those cases, Jesse, where they just got to get it done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Freo with 7. I think our boys are showing some good form. They should play some good footy at times, enough to get the job done in 13 games this season. Hard to argue. And I just want to see it happen.
Me too.
7 points on the Dockers for me, Jesse. That is going to wrap it up. And boy, howdy, this is going to be a very interesting round in terms of the tips. This is going to be a very interesting result come the start of round 22. Will you have clawed it back? Will I have taken away? We'll see. Send the people home.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, subscribe if you are enjoying the content we're putting out here on Centimetre Perfect. Check out our main podcast episodes, which have been split into 2, that being the deep dive and the round recap. And also go and check out Jesse Dart reacts to Jesse Dart on the AFL Footy Show, if for no other reason, but that I'm sure you'll find it funny. Until next week, thank you for tuning in. Enjoy your football weekend, and we'll see you soon on Centimetre Perfect.
Bye, everybody.